Hey guys, and welcome back to another edition of the Leadership Download. My name's Travis, and back here with my friend Cameron. And today we have another exciting topic to unpack with you guys. Cameron, what's our topic for today?
Yeah, Travis, thank you for listening in, everyone, on the Leadership Download podcast. Today, our topic is going to be patience for young emerging leaders. And this is something I know that Travis and I can definitely relate to as it pertains to patience and our career growth. Um, I can say for myself, when I started in the industry, in the workforce, got my first job, and all I wanted to do is become the CEO the next day, and I thought that was an easy path. I don't know. I know, Travis, you probably had a similar experience where you're like, "Oh, I want to go after this." You have the confidence of, taking over the world, taking over the company, but doing that as a in a swift manner. But however, that's really not the case. We're going to go over through some points to that we want to emphasize on, but really, patience is really important, especially for young emerging leaders that want to grow in their careers. And it truly, and what patience allows, it allows you to grow and really know what type of leader you are and what you're shaping yourself to be. Because if you don't have those early experiences in the workplace as a frontline employee or that junior manager or junior supervisor, those experiences are really going to shape you for when you become that director, general manager, or CEO. Travis?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I think of about patience is just the current times we're in now. For a lot of people, I believe, um, before COVID, a lot of people's careers were moving, maybe at a faster rate, and there was a lot of opportunities. And then COVID happened, and then I know, particularly in the industry of aviation, everything went, backwards rapidly, faster than we would ever believe it could happen. And in some cases, those opportunities you thought that were going to be there for you to grow and or to do more or to expand your influence, suddenly you realize that those things had to wait. I actually experienced that a little bit myself during this COVID time. There was a period of time where there was literally nothing going on in the aviation industry. It was literally had been put to sleep for a couple, almost a year before it finally
Mhm.
started to come bustling back. And there was no promotions, there was no opportunities for growth. It was just hang on and get through it at those moments. And patience is something that, like you said, Cameron, none of us really like it. None of us really want to deal with it. But oftentimes it's what's going to uh, keep us safe and keep us moving in the right direction if we can uh, just kind of control our mindset when it comes around the idea of patience.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, Travis. I know when, I kind of worked various roles, frontline, junior level supervisor, and it's frustrating. You can be the next GM or take over a location or be the director, but it took mentors that surrounded me to show show me that, hey, you need these experiences, you need this frontline experience, you need this junior level supervisor experience. And so it's a shift of mindset is where you start cherishing where you're at. I've seen colleagues, classmates of mine that came out of college and they didn't make it in frontline roles because they were too overconfident. I have a bachelor's degree under my belt, and it never worked out. And
Hmm.
and they're now really, off on the wrong tangent, still in frontline roles, trying to figure out what they want to do. And it really took cherishing those frontline roles, giving it your 110% or 200%, whatever you have to, uh, and you really cherish those experiences and give it your all. And each of those experiences truly helps you get to that next level and really shapes you, and it builds your character as a leader. For myself, looking back now at various experiences I had I'm glad it took as long as it did to
Mm-hmm.
get to where I am today, because if it wasn't for that, I would probably not be um, equipped to be in my current role or current organization that I'm in to be able to lead people properly.
Yeah, I mean that just reminds me of a conversation I had with a mentor of mine just a couple nights ago. And Cameron, we've discussed this offline, but it's very important as we grow in our careers in our professions that we are willing to be patient, because patience also allows our competencies to catch up with us. If you've ever seen somebody who has maybe gotten into a certain career field and suddenly they skyrocketed through 4 or 5 positions in a matter of a few years, and they get to a certain point and suddenly you see them just absolutely flame out and they fall apart, and basically they're not they weren't they're a falling star in essence, in a situation that they was like, man, that guy once was a great performer, or she was a rock star, and now she's completely failing. And it's usually because we've lacked the patience to allow ourselves to develop the competencies at each level that is needed to move to the next level. You need those competencies from being a frontline worker to be able to become the supervisor. And then you need those companies as a supervisor to be built to become a manager. And then you need those companies to become a GM and then director or wherever else it goes. But that it takes time to develop those competencies. And oftentimes, like you said, Cameron, there are people when they come out of college and they've got a degree, and now there's this big assumption that, hey, I've got this figured out now, give me the job. And it's like, no, there's a lot of competencies now you're no longer that you now have to begin to develop. So patience is what actually protects us from being that you know rising star who ends up failing because they can't keep up.
Yeah, you're so right, Travis. Yeah, I think really one of the elements that we should touch on is, I've often seen young, bright people, energetic. They get into the frontline role, and they use different tactics to try to get ahead of the game because they don't have the patience. They kiss up to the boss, or they don't seem genuine. They're very fake. They think they're all that. And I think really the key here is one element um, is to be humble in the
Mhm.
work environment that you're in. Of course, cherish it, but also be genuine. And I think one thing that's important is when you get into a work environment and you want to grow and excel with an organization that you find you want to grow in, I think it's important to be clear on where you want to go. Some people just go in and say, "Oh, I'll do anything. I'll move up into whatever role you need to." I think it's very critical to have that clear, concise, what you want to do, where you want to be, because that's what will help you on to get on that trajectory for growth. And it could potentially either accelerate or slow down your growth, but at least you know where you're going, and
Mhm.
people around you and your bosses or superiors will understand what they need to help you there.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely correct.
So hitting on the first point that I want to emphasize on, patience prepares you for success. So what does this mean? What does this mean?
Tell us, Cameron.
Start that one again. I guess I should have read this through.
Oh, you wrote it.
I know I wrote it. Wrote it at 30,000 feet.
Maybe a lack of oxygen.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, Travis, the first point that we wanted to touch on is patience prepares you for success. you're continuously striving to meet goals, and over time you really find that you're developing many traits that are going to equip you for success. For example, I have it written down here. You'll build a good reputation by steadily working towards your aspirations, and at the same time you'll begin developing a more hopeful mindset even when dealing with adverse conditions that may come your way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for a lot of people, there's just a reality that success takes time. There's an incubation period on success. Um, we have to understand that there's going to be some steps we have to take. There has to be some layered learning that happens throughout our career, and ultimately, for us to be ultimately successful, I mean, think about the people that you work around and you think the most of. It's usually somebody who has some tenure, who's been around, and they've worked their way up. They have spent time in each position, so they know how to speak into each position, versus somebody who's come in and kind of gone straight into a more senior position. So allowing our times, go back to the competency thing, allowing ourselves time to develop those competencies in each level is going to be what helps us become successful.
Yeah, you're so right, Travis. And onto the next point I want to emphasize on is that patience makes you see waiting as a positive thing. When we start viewing waiting periods as favorable things, they'll be more likely to use the time to their advantage. I mean, it's really all about your attitude as you go into various situations. Um, you're able to really sharpen your abilities, and it helps you become a better individual, a better leader. Really focusing on building your character.
And once again, character is something that's developed over a period of time. It's not something that you can rush. Many times, you'll read something in a book, or you'll come across a good quote, and you're like, yeah, that's a good quote. It hits, it really hits a good point. Or yeah, I want to be a person of character. That's good that you can vocalize it, but honestly, to become a person of high integrity, a high person of character, this is something that has to be compounded over a period of time. So understanding that, if you want to have, possess, be considered a person of character, high integrity, it's not one day, it's every day. It's a consistency built over a period of time. So once again, understanding that, each day making that decision to live a life with high character, with integrity, um, is very important. But understanding we have to have patience to allow that to pay off.
Yeah, and also patience really helps us with decision making, because there may be times that we're eager to get to that next level, and we might quickly jump over to another organization to say, "Hey, I have an opportunity there. I can grow more at a faster rate than I can with this company that I'm currently with." And it's so important to be patient and slow at making decision making, because you want to ensure that you're thorough in your decision making. A couple of months ago, I had to make the decision to leave a company that I was with for a good while, close to 9, 10 years, and that was a difficult choice. But I wanted to make sure that what I was moving into was the proper next step, and that it was just not something that I just wanted to leave just because I wanted to move forward very quickly. It had to be the right opportunity. And there were several opportunities that came my way, and there were some that if I had jumped ship to other opportunities, it would have not worked out as it did where I am currently.
Yeah, I mean, this is a important, thing that will take every day of our leader. We need to realize every day of our leadership career is that, while making decisions also requires us to sometimes be, rapid in being able to, figure things out and make a decision. There's also a aspect of decision making that we should not rush to an answer without looking, making sure we have all of the key pieces that we would need to make a decision. So, uh, being a young leader, oftentimes we will try to make decisions rapidly, or without asking questions, or without seeking advice from others to make ourselves look more ready for the job. But early on, that's actually when we need to have the patience to see things through, and slow down, and assess and make sure we have all the data that we need to make a proper decision before we start jumping to conclusions. I think that's something that I've often had struggled with early in my career. Is I always felt pressed to make a decision rapidly, and there's going to be days where you're forced into scenarios where you don't have a choice but to make a decision with what's in front of you. But that's not happening daily. So, I mean, taking the time to say, I'm going to set a precedent, set an expectation for myself that I'm going to be patient in gathering my information and making the proper decision, is key, because a lot of young leaders don't take that time needed to make those decisions strategically.
Yeah, Travis, and this is probably the most challenging of out of anything, decision making.
Yeah.
Not only for our careers, but also even in the work environment. I know this is something I still struggle with today. Just like you mentioned, we're faced with decision making where we have to make a decision in an instant, on the spot. And sometimes we do have the time to be methodical, weigh the options, what would be the best option. And I think from experience over time, once you have this experience with both on the spot decision making and also taking the time to be methodical, you'll get better as you go on and have these experiences. And you are going to make mistakes. You are probably going to make a mistake that you might have made the wrong career move, or you might have made a quick decision in the work environment. But I know for the mistakes that I made early on, where I was too quick to jump the gun, or made the decision in error, I learned from that, and I still remember those experiences, and it shaped my decision making in the future and today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next area we wanted to touch on is how patience helps you set a good example. And this one is very important because it really shows your leadership capabilities. And I think a key component to this is confidence, is being confident in when it comes to being patient, is you are confident. For example, let's say you want to move into the next role within your organization, and you've been trying to get this promotion, you might have gotten a couple no's, and I think it's better in this situation to have the confidence that you are ready for the next position, rather than being bothering your boss about, hey, what's going to happen with this opportunity? Have you had a chance to review my application? I'm really interested. They already know you're interested. As long as they know your intentions, you just need to display that confidence. And I think displaying that confidence and showing that you have those leadership capabilities, regardless of where you're at, frontline role, junior level supervisor, it'll show and reflect, and it'll help you get to where you need to be.